it's Lori here. I'm back to start another reading vlog. It is almost 4:30 on July 16th. The past week I have spent doing like a bunch of contemporary reads that were a little bit more hitting, and next week we're gonna head into Reading Rush. So I'm gonna do like a 3-day reading vlog and just see like how many books I can tackle. I just collected a couple of them because I really wanted to read a little bit outside of my reading genre because I've been reading contemporary for a lot. So the first book I decided to pick up is Black Wings Beating by Alex London. This is a Falconer themed YA fantasy novel, and that's all that I know. I know that it is LGBTQ, and I actually do have the sequel, and it's about a set of twins, and that's all that I know so far. So this is one that's high on my TBR, and I actually just started it, so I've read about 18 pages, not that far into it. Another book that is on my TBR that I've heard really, really good things about is Grave Maidens by Kelly Kuhn. I have no idea what this is about, to be honest with you, but I really, really like the cover, and it says 3 chosen maidens, 2 living sisters, 1 dark tradition. But I have to do this has to do with like they're trying to find the solution to a deadly illness that their ruler has, I think. Again, don't know much about it, but I have had it on my TBR for quite a while. This came out in December, and the sequel is coming out like soon. This is a book for the Time Warp by a Book Club Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young. I got this at New York City Comic Con, and this is more of like a thriller. And the last one that I definitely hope to read this weekend is Throw Like a Girl by Sarah Hennen. This is her first foray into YA contemporary, and it has to do with this girl that becomes like a quarterback because their team's quarterback is battling an injury. So yeah, I doubt I will read all these 4 books, but I am gonna start with Black Wings Beating. And I'm also in the middle of watching Sweet Magnolias and Unsolved Mysteries. So that's what I'm in the middle of watching. I am in the middle of reading this. Yeah, so I'm gonna go eat and read a little bit, and when I get about 50 pages into this, I'll kind of report back because I've only read like 18 pages, and one of the chapters was like what happened in the past of the story. So I literally just met Kaylee and Bryson, which are the 2 leads. So when I learn a little bit more about them, I'll report back. Bye, guys. Right here, just checking back in. I did make a little bit of reading progress on Black Wings Beating. I'm on page 46. Don't know much about the world, I'll be like very honest. I know that they're in like a birding society, so some kids have falcons and there's falconry. There's also a war coming, and you follow 2 main characters, and their names are Brisson and Kaylee, and they're twins. Kaylee, from what her father said in the beginning part of the book, is a natural birder, like she's very, very good at it, and Bryson is not that good at it, but I think he is more on the track to be involved in falconry. That's really all that I know so far. I know that there was like a fight between 2 birds, which I thought was kind of cool. But I watched the end of Sweet Magnolias, and all I will say is, boy, we better get a second season because I need to know what happens. Very, very well done. I would highly recommend that show if you're looking for a really, really quick read and a really, really fun cast. So I'm going to go read a little bit more, and I'll probably check back in when I feel like I know what's going on. I still don't think I know what's going on, but I've only read about, I know from the back, like, what's going to happen. But I don't want to spoil that if I don't have to. So, alright, I'm going to go, and I'll be back when I know a little bit more about this book. Bye, guys. Lori here. I just wound up taking a shower, and I wound up reading up to page, like, 61 in Black Wings Beating. This book is super interesting. I'm really enjoying it. But I think I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow. I'm gonna play a little bit more Animal Crossing tonight, I think. I'm watching a YouTube video, and I kind of just need some background noise. But then I'm gonna pick something new to watch. Since I finished Sweet Magnolias, I'm gonna figure out another, like, drama show to watch. I don't know what it is. It might be Manifest. I don't know. I'm still deciding. But, I do want to say that I am really liking this book, and it's definitely a quicker read. I'm liking the world. Now, basically, there's a war brewing. And Kaylee possesses some gifts that makes her better with falconry than her brother, but her brother really wants to be a falconer but doesn't have these gifts. And right now they're trying to settle the debts of their fathers, so that's really their focus. And I know that an adventure is coming for these 2 young characters. And also, right off the bat, you could tell that Bryson is LGBTQ. He is in love with a young man who really is not a good guy. I'll say that. And Kaylee's really trying to protect her brother. But right now, they're not getting along very, very well. So I'm gonna go watch my YouTube video, play a little bit of Animal Crossing, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hey here, I'm back. It's about 8:30. I did wind up waking up. It looks like it's gonna pour. I'll be very, very honest. So I don't know how my mic writing is gonna go today. But last night I did wind up watching the new Octavia Spencer show, To Tell the Truth, on Apple Plus. So that was super interesting. I really like true crime things, so that is kind of a show about this journalist who ends up really going everything in for this guy who she thinks is convicted of a murder. But now it's kind of revealed that maybe he wasn't convicted of the murder. So you have Octavia Spencer on one side, and then you have, oh my god, I cannot remember his name, on the other side. And you see like a lot of like friendly faces that I know from other things. So it's actually a pretty cool show. And then I also started watching Ashley Garcia on Netflix just because it was like 30 minutes and I was looking for another like shorter show. Also, Cursed did come out today. So I might wind up watching that. But those are like my watching plans. And I also got up to page 73 in Black Wings Beating. It's definitely a slow start. It's like a very, very complicated world. But basically there's the Society of Birding. And if you have a connection with a bird, that's what you do. So you have two twins. You have Kylie, and you have Bryson, and they're twins. Kylie has like magical gifts that are from the gods, I guess you could say, but people can't know about that. And then you have Bryson, who really wants to be involved in the birding industry, but doesn't have the powers. So they're basically at a little bit of a deficit because their dad died. And now they're kind of in that, and they're gonna have market day coming up. But I'm loving the characters in this. I just need like a little bit more information about the world. So I'm gonna go do my Skillshare class, and then I'm probably going to go to my yoga class. That's my plans for today. I might spend the whole day reading, honestly, if it still doesn't get better weather-wise, but I do hope to still make it outside for at least a bike ride. But yeah, that's my plans of attack. I'll check in with you guys after I'm done with all my R&D things, like my nonfiction reading, my Skillshare class, and my yoga class. Bye, guys. Lori here, I'm back. I just been finishing my Skillshare class. I'm going to start a new one next week, and I'm going to dive into a new nonfiction read, I think. Next week is Reading Rush, so I want to try to really focus on reading next week, but I still do want to do this nonfiction stuff that I have promised myself that I would keep doing. So I didn't make any more reading progress on Black Wings Beating, but I am going to go to my yoga class. It is still pouring out, so can't go in person, but I haven't actually taken this class in a while, so I'm excited for it. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll update you guys when I'm back. Bye. Here, I'm back. I did wind up doing my yoga class, which I was super happy about, and I did wind up reading the first section in Black Wings Beating. So now we're gonna get Bryson's, I think that's how you say it, Bryson's point of view, which he's the male lead, and I'm really excited because I kind of like him as a character. So I'm going to go back to reading. I'm going to watch a lot of like longer YouTube videos as background noise, and hopefully, how long is this? This is almost 400 pages, but the font is a little bit on the bigger side. So we will see how much progress I'll make. I'll let you guys know when I get like about 50 more pages and let you guys know my thoughts. Or if something happens that solidifies the world. I am liking it, but I feel a little bit lost in the world right now. And that normally happens to me in a starting fantasy series because there's a lot of information that the author has to give you, and it's always harder, I feel like, when the character is when the character is not new to the world, because then you as an audience don't know stuff that the characters do know. So I always feel a little bit like off kilter in that situation. So I'm hopeful that either and it's hard because it's a he. Alex London is a boy. But I hope that he's able to find a balance between giving us information and not having an info dump. But I am really captivated by the characters, and I really do like the falconry aspect of the story. So I'm going to go back to reading and watching a few of my longer YouTube videos, and I will check in when I read about 50 more pages. Bye, guys. Here, I'm back. It's about 12:30. I did wind up playing Animal Crossing. It is still pouring, so I think my bike riding is going to have to wait till later. But I did wind up reading a little bit more in Black Wings Beating by Alex London. I'm now on page 109. So now we're in Bryson's point of view, and I think I'm kind of starting to see where the story is going. But it's funny because I follow a lot of like people on Twitter, and there was a trend a couple of like weeks ago that was like for authors to describe their books in the most boring way possible. And the way Alex London kind of described his book was some kids want to go birding and others don't. I think it's kind of funny when you actually read it because that kind of does make a little bit sense. But basically, so that's very, very true. But basically, now we're in Bryson's point of view, and Bryson really does want to be a falconer. He wants to be involved with birding industry. That's what he wants to do. However, he's not super talented in that, like not at all. But his twin sister, Kylie, is very, very talented in that, but she doesn't want to be a birder. The only reason she's in this right now is because she really wants to get rid of their debt that they have and kind of move on. So that's kind of where they are, and Bryson is head over heels in love with this guy, and he makes a bad decision that kind of sets them off on a soon-to-be adventure to kind of get something that will get him out of this bad situation. They basically have to track down the ghost hawk, which is basically what her dad was hunting in the first chapter of this book. I think the world is really, really cool. Like, I just like it. So yeah, I read about 100 pages. I'm probably going to read quite a bit more today because it's just kind of bad weather and I don't really have a lot else to do. So I'm going to go back to watching my true crime podcast that I thoroughly enjoy. Right now I'm watching Kendall Ray and her husband Josh. They do the Mile Higher podcast, and they have a bunch of cool topics. This week is on NXIVM, or last week I think was on NXIVM, which is a crazy cult thing. So like if you are at all interested in that, I would highly recommend you look it up. It's a little bit graphic, but really, really good. So I'm going to go back to Black Wings Beatings and see what Bryson and Keeley get up to, and I'll report back when I can. Bye, guys. Guys, so here I'm back. It's about 1:30. I did wind up getting up to page, technically I think it's like 142 in Black Wings Beating, but I'm about to go back to a Kaylee chapter. This book is so easy to read. Like, I still feel like I'm a little bit confused about the world, but I do like that we are getting both Kaylee and Bryson's point of view in it, because I think that they have two very different views of this world that we're in. And then at the end of every chapter, you kind of get a other point of view that's kind of like more like political, I'll say. But basically what's happening is they have to catch this ghost bird that Kaylee and Bryson's dad was hunting for before he was killed, to save Bryson's boy that he likes, basically. And these two twins don't get along about very, very much in this book, and there's a lot of secrets, but I love the world. I love how, you know, Bryson can like a boy and it's not that big of a deal. I just like that. I really think the world is cool, and his writing style is very, very easy to read. The only other writing style I can kind of remind it of, other than Harry Potter, is Kendra Blake. She has like a very, very fast-paced, engaging writing style, and she writes a world that's like so compelling. And that's kind of how I feel about Black Wings Beating. I'm really, really liking it. I might honestly just dive into Red Skies Falling if I want to finishing this earlier enough in the weekend, because I'm really, really liking it, and I am trying to get really, really good at sequels, reading them better, so that's going to be a reading vlog I'm going to do in August, so keep a nose out for that. But yeah, I'm really liking Bryson as a character. Like, I really do like him a lot. I always tend to gravitate towards and like the male characters a little bit more. Sorry, I'm part of the Harry Potter generation, but I really do like Bryson. I do like Kaylee as well. I think she's more of like a potential chosen one in this world, and I'm kind of liking developing that. But I also think that these twins have a very, very complicated relationship. Sorry, I changed my angle. I wanted to sit. But yeah, so I'm gonna go back to reading and watching my true crime videos, and then I'll come back when I make a little bit of progress. Probably when I get to like probably when I read like the next section, probably when I'm about to go back to Bryson, I'll probably update you guys. Unless it might be very, very long. So we will see. We will see when the next time my update is. But yeah, talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, Larry here. I'm back. I ran a couple errands with my mom. I went for a bike ride, which I was happy to squeeze back in because it had been raining all day. But I do want to say that I did wind up getting up to page 170 in Black Wings Beating. It is finally turned into the quest element that I've been wanting. We also did get a flashback into the twins' past, which explains their dynamics a little bit more, especially the relationship with their father and their mother. Their mother is a very interesting character, and I was happy to have a scene with her and her daughter before she ventured off. But I'm really liking it. I'm really liking both equal point of views. I think that it's a very, very fast-paced adventure story. I really love the aspect of the birds as characters, even though they don't really talk, but you do definitely sense that connection. And the quest has begun. So I'm going, and the quest element, I will say, because it really says in the back, there's a ghost hawk that they all want to find. And if they find this, then Bryson's boyfriend, I guess you could say, or the guy that he likes, will not be put towards a death sentence because his boyfriend is a gambler and made some bad decisions. So Kaylee's going to hunt for her brother now, which I'm really excited about. So I'm gonna go back to reading. I have a lot of true crime videos to watch, so plenty of background noise. It's only 5 o'clock, so I can probably make quite a bit more progress on this tonight. But yeah, that's my plan of attack. Bye guys. I'll catch up when I read a little bit more. Right now I'm on page 170. I'll catch you up in a little bit. Bye. Here, I just want to do a quick check-in. I did wind up getting up to page 200 in Black Wings Beating. Sorry, that was the view of the cover. But it's been a while since I read a quest type book, that has a quest element and is set in a world like this that has traveling. So I'm really liking that part. I'm liking that we have a little group of characters that are kind of going out on this. I like that the twin dynamics in this book is so different. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. But it's not a very, very close relationship between brother and sister, and I don't really read that a lot. A lot of times when I read twin books, they have a very good relationship, and that's not the case in this book. But it's complicated, I'll say. But I really do like this book. I think that it's a really, really fun world and one that I'm really, really liking. There's a lot of animals. It's just a fun read. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll report back when I read about, when I get to the next section. Probably is when I get to 50 more pages. Unless something happens and I have to gush about it. Bye guys. Just a quick update. It's almost 6:36. Well, it is 6:36. And I did wind up getting up to page 242 in Black Wings Beating. I just want to do a small trigger warning for this book. It does talk about self-harm, and it does have to do with a lot of parental abuse, and also verbal, a lot of parental abuse. I will say that. So just as a note. But now we're in Bryson's head. I just like Bryson as a character. I think he's a very unique character, and I'm really liking his point of view. The only part of this book that gets me a little bit confused is the end chapter of every section is set in someone else's point of view, and it's someone different every single time. And it definitely has to do, it's expanding your worldview a little bit. But those chapters, because we really don't know who those people are, it just gets me a little bit confused. But I do like where, this is much more an adventure story. I love that it's very, very, well, this part of it's very, very female focused. And I'm really, I'm enjoying that. And I'm really liking how, this is also a very, very quick read. I'm reading it super fast, and I actually hesitated reading this for a long time, but it's a very, very fast-paced story. His writing is very, very compelling, very, very fast-paced. I'm loving the LGBTQ representation in this, especially for Bryson's character. And I love how we do have a trio of characters in this book. It's something that I'm really, really liking. But the world is something that is so lush and so interesting. I've said this in an earlier clip. Sometimes first books in a series are a little bit hard if your main character knows the world better than you as an audience member do, because you're always kind of a step behind your character, and you're kind of a little bit off center. So I like when the characters learn new information in more of an organic way, because then we learn that information in more of an organic way. But when it has to be very, very info dumpy, I tend to get a little bit lost in the details. So I think he's finding an okay balance with that. But I really am liking it. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I read a little bit more. Bye, guys. Right here, just checking back in. I just wound up taking a shower and kind of organizing my life a little bit. But I wound up getting up to page 260 in Black Wings Beating, and a plot point was introduced, and Am I curious about what that plot point means? There's also a lot of talk about anxiety and depression and self-harm for one of the characters. So going into that, again, I was very similar to my last reading blog. I don't know if these are going up in order, but very, very deals with depression, anxiety, and self-harm and stuff like that. So just go in kind of knowing that for one of the characters. But another plot point was introduced, and color me intrigued. I am intrigued. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll report back when I make a little bit more reading progress. It is 8:30. I am on page 260, and this book ends at 400. I would really love to, finish this tonight, but I'm not making any promises. Not making any promises, but I will try. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I wound up getting up to page 300 in Black Wings Beating by Alex London. Still really liking this book. This book has definitely had a lot of interesting twists and turns, and it's not a story that I necessarily predicted, which is good. The world building is not as clear as I would want it, but that's the only downside to this book, but I am really liking. That's one thing that's a little bit confusing, and I'm hopeful, in future books in the series, we'll learn more. But I'm loving the dual point of view characters. I'm really liking that. There's a lot of twists and turns in this story that I don't necessarily predict. So I'm still really intrigued. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take 30 minutes of a reading break and kind of watch some stuff on YouTube. And then I'm going to kind of come back and just see how far I can get, because I reached kind of a critical part. I'm now in Kayleen's point of view. And they were in two different locations, so they kind of had two different parts of a story. So I want to know what happened to Kayleen, and she's sharing her story with her brother now. So I'm kind of curious, what's happening with her, because she kind of revealed something, and now I'm like, wait, what? The twins are dealing with two totally different career paths and two totally different plot points. So it's kind of interesting now that they're back together. So I'm going to take 30 minutes off, kind of go and give my eyes a break. But then I am going to come back and I will update you guys once I read a little bit more, because so far, really, really liking it. Definitely a fast-paced read, but I am going to take a little bit of a break and I'll come back. Bye, guys. In that last clip is a little bit awkward, but I was trying to say that whenever I go to stop reading this book for the night, I get really excited to keep reading. So my plan is to read until 3:50, but if I want to know what happens, I might read a little bit more. But I'll check in when I make that decision, and if I don't check in, it means I probably went to bed. And I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hey, guys. Lori here. I'm back. I just want to say that last night I did wind up reading quite a bit. I did check in. I wound up getting up to page 350 in this book. I'm really at the climax of it. I'm really, really close to the end. Still really, really liking it. I would definitely give this book four stars. I thought so far. I mean, it might change my mind, but so far I think the world building could still be a little bit clearer, and I'm still lacking a little bit of understanding about the world, but it is the first book in a series. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a quick bike ride before it gets ridiculously hot, and then I'm probably going to come home and do all my errands that I have to do this weekend, because I am heading into reading rush in this week, and I do want to have a bunch of time during the week to read and do less errandy stuff. So I'm probably going to do a couple of filming things and fun stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of my plans. I'm going to go for a quick bike ride, probably read in the park, and when I come back, I should be done with Black Wings Beating, and I'll give you guys my thoughts. And then I'm going to choose my next read. Bye, guys. It's Lori here. I'm back. It's 10:40. I did wind up finishing Black Wings Beating by Alex London. I wound up really, really liking this book. I wound up giving it 4 stars for review. I got this book a while ago. I think I got this book, either it's at BEA or New York City Comic Con. I don't remember which one I got it at, but it was 2008, so it must have been one of those conventions. But I wound up really, really liking this book. I love the dual point of view. I love the characters. I wish the world building would have been a little bit clearer, but I'm hoping when I dive into Red Skies Falling, it will solidify a few things, because the setting is going to change quite dramatically. I love the LGBTQ representation in this book. I love the characters. So yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and I'm going, I asked on my Instagram what book should I read next, and Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young won. This is actually the book for the Time Warp YA Book Club, so I do actually need to get a move on. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. So I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna take a couple of minutes. I'm gonna do all my errandy stuff for this week because it's also heading into reading rush. So yeah, I'm gonna go do all that stuff, and I'll talk to you guys when I start Girls with Chopsticks. Bye guys. Lori here, just checking back in. It is 1 o'clock. I did wind up reading about 40 pages in Girls with Chopsticks by Suzanne Young. I got this at New York City Comic Con last year, and I never wound up picking it up. But I'm like intrigued. But it basically follows these girls, and they go to a school. And the school, the only way I could describe it is very, very Stepford Wife-y. Like, they're very focused on them not having their own opinions and like what they focus on. Let me see if I can get it, because they have there's a report card in this book. So they want you to be cooperative, a good listener, manners and poise, beauty, compliance, plant design, development, basics, that is academics, basics, social grace, etiquette, decorum, modesty, fitness, and modern manners. So it's basically like a finishing school, but you could see like the people have like a darker side whenever the girls try to have their own opinions. And at the start of this book, they're kind of on a field trip, and something seemed off from the very, very beginning. But then she winds up meeting a young boy at like a convenience store, and that kind of sets her off on like she kind of gets in a little bit of trouble. But I'm intrigued. I never read anything by Suzanne Young to begin with, but it definitely reminds me a lot of like Stepford Wives, like that, the ability to be perfect, and like they can't be injured, and like she got a scrape on her knee, and they have to like make sure that she's perfect. I guess for marrying, like that's basically what it's for. But I don't know if this book is set in the past or the present or what the time period is. I don't know if they're gonna give you that, but I'm intrigued. So I'm gonna go back to reading, and I'll probably read about like 50 more pages, and then I'm probably gonna go for another bike ride because it's not actually that humid today. And I'll update you guys when I read a little bit more. Bye. Here I'm back. It's almost 3 o'clock. I did go for a bike ride, but I did also wind up reading page 100 in Girls with Chopsticks by Suzanne Young. I am so intrigued by this book. Like, it takes place at a boarding school, and they're trained to be very like controlled young women. But I just think something's like off with the school. I'm not sure. Like, I have a couple of possible theories, like what they are. It reminds me, it has like a very similar feeling to Dollhouse, the TV show by Joss Whedon, or Brave New Girl, or Brave New World by Rachel Vincent that I read a couple of years ago. I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm curious. Like, I'm very, very curious. There are a lot of girls in this book that you kind of get to know, but it's a very like eerie book. Like, it's not like horror, but it's just eerie. Like, it gives you like a really, really bad a bad feeling about how these girls are being treated, but no one's being like outwardly mean to them. But it's just weird. It's just like I feel like something's wrong with it. So like I want to keep reading. I do have my theories, and if any of them are right, maybe I'll do like a non-spoiler discussion. But it's definitely a book that makes you think, because it's really saying girls need to be quiet and demure and be a perfect wife and have to let men control everything. And I'm hopeful that the girl's able to stand up for themselves at some point. But right now, deeply intrigued. So I'm gonna go back to reading and watching some true crime videos, and I'll talk to you guys when I read about 13 more pages. Bye guys. Hey, Slay here, I'm back. It's about 5 o'clock. I did wind up reading up to page 170 in Girls with Chopsticks. This book definitely got really intriguing. This is like what I equate to like a TV show that you can't stop binging, because it's very, very mystery driven, and there's a lot of plot points that are just really, really confusing. Now, one of their friends have left the school, and they don't know what's happening. So that's like a really interesting plotline. And then there's also the boy that she met like in the first chapter at the convenience store. He's kind of coming to secretly visit her, and he's kind of giving her information, and she's kind of realizing that everything's not what she seems. So I'm really, really liking this. I've never read anything by Suzanne Young. But yeah, I don't want to stop reading. I'm really curious. Like, I have one solid theory about what I think is happening. But I could be wrong. So I'm gonna go unbox my Owl Crate unboxing and probably film another video for that. And then I'm gonna go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Lori here. I'm back. I just want to say that I did when I'm reading up to page 200 in Girls with Chopsticks. I am so intrigued. Like, It is a really compelling thriller that really focuses on girls and women and how they're treated. I love books about boarding school, and I'm really enjoying this one. Like, I think there's a lot of elements here to like unpack. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break and I'm gonna watch 2 episodes of Avatar, and then I'm gonna kind of come back and kind of try to tackle the rest of this. I'm reading this book super, super fast. Like, it's very much a very, very quick read, and I'm really liking it. I've never read, I think I said this before, I never read anything by this author before because her other book series didn't really interest me. But this book is one that I'm really, really liking. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, go watch a couple of episodes of Avatar, and then I'll come back and I'll talk about that after I'm done with it. But yeah, talk to you guys in a bit. But if you have not picked up this book, would highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. But let me finish reading, then I'll give you guys my full thoughts. But bye guys. Here it's about 7:30, and I did wind up getting up to page 250 in Girls with Sharp Sex. I'm actually got up to part 2, which I didn't know this book had parts, but that's exciting. I have I would say about 150 pages left. Still really liking it. It's taking a really interesting turn. It's a very like interesting book. I would definitely say it's like a modern day dystopian novel, I'll say that, but there definitely is a thriller aspect. There's a lot of mysteries and there's a lot of stuff that Mina doesn't know. So like, and they're really using their memories as like tools to kind of keep them in the dark. So you're getting pieces that Mina doesn't even know, and I'm liking that. I'm curious what the next part of the book is going to be because something happened in the last part that kind of I think is going to shake up the game for her anyway. But I'm really liking it. Like, I do not want to put this book down. So I'm going to read another 50 pages and see how I feel because right now I really don't want to stop reading. So I'm going to go back to reading. There definitely isn't a lot of abuse in this book, like verbal abuse, physical abuse, discussions of sexual abuse as well. In this book, so just like another trigger warning. As I said with Black Wings Beating, there was some issues of that in there as well, but there's definitely verbal abuse in here, a lot, and very unhealthy relationships between young girls and older men. So that might be very, very triggering, but it's a very interesting take. It sort of reminds me a little bit of The Handmaid's Tale, like how the girls are really, really created. But yeah, I still have like one theory, and I'll be curious to see if it like turns out to be I'm correct. I did accidentally read the spoiler for the second book, so I kind of know where the book's heading, but I still don't know if my prediction is correct or not. So I'm gonna go back to reading, and then I'll update you guys. Bye. I'm back. I don't know why I call you guys. Sorry, I should not say that, but it's just what I always call you, so I apologize if it's offensive. I'll try to work on that. But I wound up getting up to page. The reason I thought of that is because I always call my kids guys in school and they don't like it. So for the past couple of months on my virtual learning, I've been calling them actors, but I've always called you guys guys. I'll try to come up with a different term to call you all because you may not all be men. You're probably not. So I'll try to come up with a different term. I'll think on that. But I wound up getting up to page 278 in Girls with Sharp Sex. It's so interesting. I love books that have to do with like mind things and like, you're trapped but you don't know you're trapped. When I was younger, I loved the book Running Out of Time. I think it's Margaret Haddix. I think she wrote that, where they were like trapped in like a reenactment camp. I think that's the premise. I really love that book. That was like one of my favorite books when I was like a little kid. So I really love books that have to do with like memory or like that, like they're kind of distorting you. This really does scream to me like Stepford Wives or like The Dollhouse is like a better analogy. But I'm really, really liking it. It's also really interesting because we're in Mina's point of view, but this part, she went through a lot in the last couple of chapters. So like her friends are kind of piecing the world back together for her. And I'm liking that. There's also like elements of this book that like are really mysterious. Like, how did that get there? That like is really curious. But it's really a book about standing up and, standing up and fighting back. And I'm liking that. And I think that we should be talking about these topics with young girls. But I will say it does have a lot of aspects of abuse, like a lot. So major trigger warning, especially emotional abuse. for the girls in the society, but I just have so many questions, like a lot of questions. So I'm gonna keep reading, and then I don't know, I really want to finish it tonight. But I also do want to watch Avatar because I want to watch 2 episodes because I think we're finally gonna learn what happened to Appa. If you don't watch Avatar, you have no idea who I'm talking about. But if you do watch it, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I get to page 300. Bye, guys. I mean, people, book lovers. Guys, Lori here. I'm just checking back in. I did wind up getting up to page 300 in Girls with Sharp Sticks. This book is so tightly wound. It kind of reminds me a little bit of a Jennifer Lynn's Barn mystery, like the mystery elements, because everything's so connected. I'm really intrigued. What I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna watch 1 episode of Avatar. And then I'm going to read 50 pages, and then I'm going to watch another episode of Avatar just to kind of give my mind a little bit of a break. But really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it. I also didn't really work out a lot today. It was really, really hot, but I did go for 2 bike rides. So, and tomorrow my mom is having surgery, and I have to go run some errands with her. So I hope to finish this. I really have no idea what I'm going to read tomorrow if I do want to finishing this, because I'm going to start reading Rush on Monday, and I want to start it fresh. So I'm going to watch an episode of Avatar, read 50 pages, and then I'll update you guys. Bye. Hi, guys, Lori here. I did wind up getting up to page 200 and 325 in Girls with Sharp Sticks. I'm right at the climax of this book. I have about 80 pages left. So I think I'm going to take this with me tomorrow when I run my errands with my mom, and I will probably be able to tackle the rest of this tomorrow. It's definitely a really compelling read. Like, it's, like I said this in like an earlier clip, it definitely reminds me of like a thriller, like you just have to keep reading. But I'm really liking it, and I'm glad that I picked it up. So I'm gonna go watch a little bit more Avatar, because in Reading Rush, I'm really gonna focus a lot of my listening next week on audiobook, so I can make it to my 7-book goal. So yeah, so tomorrow I'm really gonna try to focus on everything that's not audiobooks, so I can focus on them on Monday or for the whole week. But yeah, still really liking this, and I'll update you guys tomorrow with my thoughts when I probably finish it. I'll probably update you guys in the morning, but talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Here I'm back. I did want to say that I did want to finishing Girls with Sharp Sticks by Suzanne Young. I did wind up running a couple errands with my mom. I did mention in an earlier vlog she is having surgery this week, so we're trying to get all our duckies in a row before she does have surgery, because she's the major way that I kind of get out of my house currently. So, I am going to spend the next couple of hours kind of cleaning and organizing my bedroom. It's been a bit, I'll be honest. Through quarantine and everything, I really haven't had a whole lot of time to kind of like sit down and kind of organize my room. So I'm going to kind of do that, knowing that the next week and a half will be a little bit busy with Reading Rush and stuff. So I kind of want to have all my ducks in a row in regards to that. But yeah, I'm going to go kind of do that. I'm going to go kind of organize, kind of set up my plan for the week, and kind of start thinking about what I want to film for August. We're still in a little bit of like a holding pattern about my physical job, like what's going to happen. So I'm kind of thinking about what content I want to create for the very end of August, beginning of September. So I have some stuff for you guys, because that's normally when I go back to my lesser content. It just really depends on what the fall's going to look like. Like, it can look like 1,000 different things right now. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. But I did actually wind up really, really liking this. I definitely have to get book 2. I'm probably going to put a hold on it at my library. This is part of my goal to read more sequels, so I will probably wind up adding that to my TBR. So I'm gonna go do a little bit of a clean house, or clean my bedroom. And yeah, I'll check in with you guys when I'm about to dive into my new book, and I'll see like what time it is at that point, because if it's very, very late, I doubt I'll finish it, but I do need to do a bit of a deep clean. So I'm gonna go do that, put on some true crime podcasts, and I'm gonna go clean. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Lori here. I realized in my last clip I never really summed up Girls of Stones and Sticks, so I'm going to do that at the end of this reading vlog. But I do want to say that I am going to start Gigantus, which is the sequel to Malamar by Thomas Taylor. This book was supposed to come out in May. I don't know if it came out. I read this book in September and found it to be a super cute middle grade read. It's only 318 pages, and the font is like massive. So I'm going to start it. I did wind up doing some of my earnedy stuff. I'm starting to plan for next year, so I wanted to get all my books in order. I cleaned a little bit, I organized a little bit. So I am going to start this and see how far I can get. I doubt I'll finish this today. I could, I doubt it, but I am going to try my hardest to make some progress on this. And then I'm going to start thinking about tomorrow and Reading Rush. So I'm going to go watch some of my reading vlogs that I put off. I'm going to start this book, and I will check in when I read about 50 pages. I found this to be a super fun read. The first one that I read, I really, really liked his style. And yeah, so I'm going to go do that, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye, guys. Right here, just checking back in. It is 2:20, and I did wind up reading a little bit of Gigantus, but I just wanted to say, like, what I remember. So this is the second book in a series. The first book followed this young boy named Herbie, and he works at this, like, unique hotel, and he is, like, the lost and find keeper. He's, like, the lost and found keeper. He, like, keeps track of everything that's lost, and he kind of tries to find who it belongs to. And then in that book, a person was left in his lost and found, and he, like, had to, like, help her, and there was, like, a mystery and adventure in this little seaside town. So this is book 2, and it's called Gigantus. And the book starts off with Herbie. He's at his lost and found. A creepy man comes in and leaves him a shell. And that kind of starts off the story. But I love seaside towns. I really like his writing style. Or normally, like, the full color book will have, like, beautiful illustrations in it. I just love Violet and Herbie's relationship with each other, and it's just fun. You know, and they have to figure out what's happening. So I'm gonna go back to reading, and I will report back when I read a little bit more. Bye, guys. I have another backdrop for you guys. So many different backdrops in this reading vlog. But I am sitting outside. But I wound up getting up to page 56 in Gargantuous by Thomas Taylor. This book is very, very fun, but basically it's following Herbie and Violet, and they're on a new adventure. Their town is dealing with a very, very uncharacteristic storm, and from this storm, a glass bottle has washed ashore, and there is some complaints, I'll say, or some disagreements about who the bottle belongs to, because the fishermen want it, the person that found it want it, everyone kind of wants a piece of the puzzle, so it's kind of given to Herbie because he's the lost and found keeper of this hotel to kind of identify what is going on. But there's still the mystery of, like, then there's, like, also a lore of, like, a creature called Gargantuous is out in the sea, and he's the reason why their weather is so off kilter. But and then there's, like, other elements that are, it's just a fun read. Like, I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm only 56 pages in, but I'm gonna go make some more reading progress and continue to watch my videos. So I'll update you guys when I get up to page, like, 100, or if something very, very fun happens, I'll be sure to update you guys. But I am trying to get better at reading sequels, so this is one that has been high on my TBR this year. But I'm gonna get back to reading, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. It's about 4:30, and I did wind up getting up to page 100 in Gigantus by Thomas Taylor. This is just such a fun read. I'm really liking the characters. I'm liking that it definitely is more of a mystery adventure, this one. There's like a solid mystery. It's been a while since I read book 1, but I'm liking that. I like that we're getting to see some more creatures in this one. There's one creature or character that was introduced that I always love in middle grade reads, so I'm super excited about that. But I just love Herbie as a character. He is a young gentleman that is not fond of adventure, really likes living in his little house and, you know, doing his little job. And then you have Violet, who is all about, like, adventuring. So they kind of complement each other nicely. I would definitely be more of a Herbie. I like to be in my house and not have anything bad happen, but Violet is kind of the opposite. But I also think that we're learning a little bit more about the town in this book, and it's quite fun. It's just quite a fun read. I think that, like, the finished arc will have, like, a lot prettier, like, you know, completed art and stuff, but it's just so fun. And I'm going to keep reading. I might go have some dinner, but my plan is to make a majority of reading progress on this today. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Hey, Slurry here. I'm back. It's almost 7 o'clock. I did wind up reading to page 223 in Gigantus by Thomas Taylor. This book is very different from the first book. In the first book, there was a lot of mysteries that were kind of tied around one element, and it was very unclear who the villain is. This book, the characters have grown up. It's a very, very different dynamic. There's like one solid mystery, and also a very, very clear villain that I'm liking. There's also like side stuff that's happening, but I'm just liking it. I'm loving how it's really diving into both of our characters. I like how their dynamics change. I like how we're really exploring this little seaside town and we're getting a lot of characters. But basically, one of the major plot lines is that a bottle washes ashore, and Herbie, the keeper of the lost and found place, he needs to figure out who to give this object back to, and it's becoming a very, very big hullabaloo. But there is something inside the bottle that everyone wants, and he's kind of trapped trying to decide who to give it to, what he should do, but also everyone kind of wants it, so he's kind of in a little bit of danger. But it's just so fun. I really, really love the characters. I really, really love the world. I think that the final edition will be great because this is only an arc and there's like spots for pictures, but the pictures I am getting are beautiful. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little bit of an Animal Crossing break because I haven't played Animal Crossing like all weekend. So I'm not going to play very, very long because I really do want to tackle the rest of this tonight because I want to start reading Rush Fresh tomorrow, and it's going to bother me if I have a book outstanding. So I'm going to play a little bit of Animal Crossing, come back, and try to finish, or at least get up to page, like, 300 in this book. That's my goal. So I'm going to go do that. I'll check back in, and then we'll get reading. Bye, guys. This is Lori here. I'm back. It's about 8 o'clock. I did wind up getting up to page 252 in Giganticus, or however you say that, but still really, really liking it. I definitely like the adventure elements in this story, and it kind of changed a little bit from the last book I read, and Herbie's kind of on a little mini adventure on his own, and he's not that thrilled about it, and I can imagine that being me if I was ever in a fantasy world and I'm going on an adventure and I'm really, really afraid. That is Herbie's life, and that is my life when I read these books. But still really liking it. It also has like a sea theme, this one, because Gigantus is a sea monster. And yeah, it's a very, very fast-paced read. I really do like the small chapters. So I'm gonna go read about 50 pages and then I'll update you guys on it and I'll give you guys my thoughts. So far, I'm having a really, really good reading week. I just hope that this reading weekend turns into a really good reading rush. That's my hope. But I will check back in when I read a little bit more. Bye, guys. This is Lori here. It's about 9/11 and I just wanted to wrap up this reading vlog because I did actually wind up finishing what I wanted to. I read 3 books this weekend, which I think is pretty awesome. I mean, it was also like Friday as well, so it was like 3 days, but I had quite a good reading week. So I wound up finishing Gigantus by Thomas Taylor, which is the sequel to Malamander. I just wound up finishing this. I wound up really, really liking it. I thought this book was a very different type of mystery than the first book in the series. Like, I thought that it was very different, but also still connected. I like how this book really, really challenged Herbie in a little bit of ways. Herbie's like me, a very, very big introvert who doesn't like things going wrong. But I also think that the end of this book kind of spoke out that we might get more about his past in book 3. I really love him and Violet's friendship. We also learned a little bit more about the town. We also got some fun new characters, and we had a new creature to like explore. So I end up giving this 3.75 stars for review. I'm really excited to get book 3 whenever it comes out, and I've been making progress on reading sequels, which I'm going to do a video about upcoming, so keep a nose out. I also wind up finishing Girls with Sharp 6 by Suzanne Young. This is the book that was chosen for the Time Warp YA Book Club. I wound up thoroughly liking this book too. I thought this was a perfect mix of a thriller with science fiction elements, but also a very big focus on dystopian. It's about this girl named Mina, and she goes to an academy, but when she starts uncovering some secrets, she realizes that her school may not be what she thinks it is. I will say this book is very, very tropey, and if you have read a bunch of like dystopian novels, I think you'll probably predict the twist, because I know that I did, but it still didn't change my enjoyment level. I thought this book was so focused on female friendship, it does have a lot of trigger warnings. I'll say that in this book as well, but this book has like a lot of trigger warnings for abuse, both emotional, verbal, sexual abuse. So there is a lot of abuse warnings for this book. I am really excited for book 2. I put a hold on it at my library, but I've never read anything by Suzanne Young, and I just thought it was really a really, really eye-opening read, and it really focuses a lot on resistance and rising up, and it was just a book that really caught me off guard, but one that I'm really happy that I read. And then the book that I started this reading vlog out with was Black Wings Beating by Alex London. This is the first book in his Birds of I don't know what I don't know what the series is called. But I know that book 3 is coming out in September, so I really need to read Red Skies Falling. But this was a joy to read. I really wound up liking it. It basically follows these two characters, Bryson and Kayleen. They are twins. They live in like a birding society, and they have to go on a quest to save Bryson's love. So it's very LGBTQ friendly. The one thing I wish that this book would have focused a little bit more on is the world building, because I thought that it was a little bit weak. But I love the characters and thought it was a great read. And I'm really hoping to tackle Red Skies Falling hopefully soon. But yeah, I actually had a really, really good reading weekend, and I'm really excited to go into Reading Rush tomorrow. I will be vlogging that whole experience. I hope you guys will tag along. And if you want more up to date, well, at this point it will be over, but be sure to follow me on my Instagram because I post daily over there and I always do some fun challenges. So I'm going to go kind of get myself ready for Reading Rush, and I'll talk to you guys for my next reading vlog. Hope you guys are staying safe and being well. Bye!